We have Elder Barak here with the House of David. And what we're going to do is we're going to start doing breakouts. We talked about it. Doing deeper dives, just quick segments on some of the information you all have and you want to share, and some things that some people might not know about that watch the videos. We get a ton of comments in the comment section about different things, so we're gonna ask you some of those questions today and touch on different topics. First and foremost, give us your take, who you are, how long you've been in the truth, and
well, the Elder Barak Ban Yashala. First of all, I want to say all praise to the Most High, Yahweh Bahasham, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, Kwam Yashala, hallelujah, to the 12 tribes of Israel and our people, so-called Negro, West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Rican, North American, and South American, Kwam Yashala. I'm Elder Barak again, from going all the way back from 1984, came in the truth under Marsha Arya Yaikwab at 1 West 125th Street. And brothers in the audience out there, in the congregation out there, if you remember 1 West 125th Street, that was like, in a sense, the beginning for a lot of brothers that came into the truth during that time. And of course, Marsha Arya Yaikwab came out of Rabbi Bibbins, the Commandment Keepers, and they were under Rabbi Bibbins. They were under Rabbi Bibbins, and from Rabbi Bibbins they formed the Israeli School of Universal Practical Knowledge, okay, 1 West 125th Street. So I came from that background, and here we are in 2019. And so now we have when Marsha came away from 1 West 125th Street, we formed the House of David. Okay, and now we're still the House of David here in 191 Howard Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. Okay, Shalom.
Good, very good. And what we're going to cover today is the Mashra Yashra. Now, we know that some people might see the badges or different videos at the summit, so we're going to get into a little bit about that and some of the questions that people might not ask or know. So, first question: what's the purpose of the Mashra Yashra?
Right. The purpose of the Mashra Sha'ala. The Mashra Sha'ala purpose or priority is to actually reach the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel and to reach them in a way that we do what Yahweh Shai teaches us to do. Come together, gather ourselves together in love and unity, and try to bring this nation together, and then begin to teach what Yahweh Shai teaches us. He taught us the Gospels, how to bear one another's burdens, how to care for one another, how to have hospitality to one another, courtesy, and love for one another. So the purpose is to really teach the 12 tribes, the so-called Negroes, West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Rican, North American Indians, South American Indians, to come together and to begin to build this nation as we're supposed to. One nation under the Most High, not many different camps and schools, but we got to begin to build this nation as one in Yahweh Shai. Just like you have the other nations out there, they're one nation. You have the Chinese, the Japanese, you have the Arabs, the other nation, Africans. They're one nation, but where's Israel? Scattered and dispersed throughout the whole planet Earth. Now we know, of course, biblically in prophecy, the scriptures say that we're going to be dispersed and scattered throughout the earth. But now, because we're in the last days and the end times, all right, just before the Mashiach comes to redeem us, it's high time for us as leaders, as teachers, as prophets, disciples of Hamashiach Yahushai to begin to think about Yasha Allah. In other words, coming together as a nation. And so that's what the purpose of the Mashra Allah is, to come together as a nation and to bring this nation forward under Hamashiach Yahushai.
Okay. And what does Mashra Yasharallah mean?
Right. The word Mashra Yasharallah means government of Israel. All right. We know Mashra representing government, and Yasharallah is talking about Israel, representing Israel. So you put them together, government of Israel. And why not? You got all the other nations have their government, and we're the only nation on this earth that don't have a government. All right. So once we begin to put this nation in a form of a structured government in order, like Yahweh says in Isaiah 6 and 9, the government shall be upon his shoulders. So that's why, according to the word of the Most High in Yahweh, the government shall be upon his shoulders. So we put together and we call it government. That means we're taking claim, we're reclaiming our nationality according to what the Most High says. Take back on your nationality and take back your identity. Take back on your culture. Take back on your customs. Take back your language, which is Hebrew. Take back everything according to the Most High's word. We have to take it back and not be afraid to take it back. Okay? It's no more waiting for the white man to give us our nationality and give us what belongs to us. We have to take it back in Hamashiach Yahushua. And our nationality, our land, and our language is part of that. And so we have to begin to reclaim that. So Mashra Yasharallah means government of Israel.
Very good. And with those things, how does the Mashra Yasharallah as a body or a summit, how does that connect with what the Most High wants?
Right. So how does Mashra Yasharallah connect with the Most High wants? Because the Most High teacher, he said, gather Zephaniah, right? He said, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. See, so that's what the Most High wants to do. The Most High considers Israel, Yasharallah, his wife. So here we are all scattered about, and as you know, when you read the scriptures, Israel, we committed whoredom, fornication, and adultery. So the Most High was angry with us, and he said, I'm going to root you out of the land in anger and in fury. So like a woman, like a man who's married to a wife and she commits adultery, the man has the right to boot her out of his house, okay, for fornication purposes. So the Most High did that with us. We're the Most High's wife, so he booted us out. So now it's high time for us to begin to reclaim the law, statute, commandments of the Most High as a government, the way how David and Solomon had the government of Israel in order and in structure under the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. So we have to begin to do that as a nation of people. Okay, not many different camps scattered abroad, but begin that. Yeah, that's how it was when the Most High was bringing us up and scattered throughout the earth. You had Most High had a camp here, a camp there, a school there, Israelite school there, Israelite school there, and that's how we grew. But now the Most High is saying we're in the last days now. Now we got to assemble ourselves together more. Isaiah 45 and 20. Assemble yourselves together, the Most High says. So, and how do you do it? So just don't assemble together in disorder. You assemble together in some type of structure, order, like a government. And a government has what? Laws, statutes, and commandments in place. Right? You cannot have a nation unless you have the government, and the government puts the nation in order, and also your military. You can have a nation unless you have a military. So the Mashra Yasharallah does have brothers who train as in the military also, because all nations have that, and they get that from where? From ancient Israel. Okay, all nations have a military, have a government and a military because Israel had it. Okay, and they were taught out of the Bible how to structure their governments out from these scriptures. So that's the connection that the Mashra Yasharallah has with the Most High. That the Most High teaches us to begin to structure this body and this nation in order like a government supposed to. Okay, Khan?
Right. And as you have these different schools, like you mentioned,
right,
around the world now, right? Around the country, and as this summit moves around, what are the topics that are actually discussed at these summits?
Right. So when brothers in different camps and Israelite schools come to the Mashra Yasharallah, different topics of debate are discussed. So we have different brothers come up and speak from different Israelite camps and schools throughout the country, from internationally, from different foreign countries, and they speak on how can we come together? How can we come together with the laws, the high holy days, Okay, how can we come together with the dietary laws? Okay, how can we come together with the moral laws, the neighborly laws, the civil laws? What can we do? How can we come together as a government and put it in structure and put it in order? We need to understand how to have marriages. We need to understand circumcision. Okay, we need to understand the priesthood according to the scriptures. So we discuss all these different various topics because why? That's what a nation needs. It needs order. And we don't need the white man to teach us how to get in order. We have the blueprint that the Most High gave us, which is the Bible. It's in here. This is where he got it from. So it's in here. So we got to begin to reclaim our nationality. And so these are the various topics that are taught. And we need doctors. We need midwives. We need brothers. We need teachers. We need prophets. We need priests. Okay. We need brothers who know how to bury, perform funerals. We need everything. We need all of that. Okay. We need construction workers. We need electricians. We have everything. Okay. And so that's why at the March Rosh Allah, we have now a book that goes around. Now it's the March Rosh Allah phone book. And every summit we pass it around and we have brothers put their name, their number, and also what they're qualified in. So we'll know all across the country. The book is thick now. It's getting thicker. Every summit we have, it's getting thicker. We're coming upon our 13th summit. So every summit we have, it gets thicker. And we got brothers, we got professional brothers and sisters that know everything that there is to know in a government or in a nation to know. They're coming up, they're putting their names in the book, and there's doctors, there's lawyers, there's teachers, there's midwives. We got people that can perform when a woman gets pregnant and giving birth. We got brothers that can perform funerals, with circumcision, doctors. We have all of that. So the Most High is bringing it together as a nation, according to the Most High's word.
And you mentioned all of the people and things that are going to be needed for this particular type of activity when you're talking about nation building. And with that being said, two-part question. Who can attend these summits, right? And then what would you say with all of that being said? There's a book going around the country. People are contributing their information and their skill set. What would you say the accomplishments have been so far? Excuse me.
First of all, the first question, who can attend these summits? When we first started the summit, the first summit was in Washington, D.C. When we first started the summit, we only asked for the particular leaders or camp leaders or school leaders of these camps or Israelite schools because we were starting off. But as the summits grew, even when we first started the summits, we didn't have a name called March Rosh Allah yet. This came as we advanced. We didn't have a flag. As you know, the March Rosh Allah flag, and he's going to show it in the video, we have a flag also. We didn't have a flag the first summit. But as we grew, the Spirit of the Most High worked with us, and these things, we acquired these things through the Spirit of the Most High and Yahweh. So right now, because now the March Rosh Allah is now of its own entity, in the spirit of Hamashiach Yahweh, we urge that all brothers and all our sisters, all the brothers, all the camps and Israelite schools can attend the March Rosh Allah summits. And we urge everybody to come, okay? The last summit, the 12th summit, we had over 300 people there. And many people were there, and it was a successful summit. All the summits were successful in Hamashiach Yahweh. All of them were successful. So we're coming upon our 13th summit in Chicago, and Mosa will, that's going to be successful also. We got brothers who are coming from Dimona, Israel. They're going to be there. And so brothers internationally are coming, and so it's successful. So we urge all brothers, sisters, and Israelite camps and schools to come to the Hebrew summits. And you said the next question, the second part of that question?
The second part was just in terms of accomplishments.
Right.
What would you say some of those are so far?
Right. Well, one of the first accomplishments was, as you know, at the Hebrew summits, the Spirit showed us to get together like a council. form of a government. Okay, every government needs leaders. All right, and so the Most High showed us. I know we didn't have this the first couple of summits. We didn't have the first couple of summits, but as the summits went along, the Spirit showed us to get brothers who been in the truth for extended period of time, 20, 25, 30 years, and to begin to form a council and a government structure. So we handpicked through the Spirit of the Most High now a council of brothers. It was first of all we started with 10 brothers, and it's still 10, and we handpicked a few brothers that have been in the truth a long time that didn't take any time off. They stayed enduring the Most High's work, stayed in studying the Most High's word, and stayed in this truth, and stayed in the spirit of Hamashiach Yahushua for 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And so we formed a council, a structure, a government structure. And then the Spirit showed us to call it Government of Israel. And then we said, okay, in the Hebrew, that's Ma'asharah, that's Sha'ala. Okay? And so that's an accomplishment. And then the Spirit showed us, well, if we're claiming our identity, we're claiming our nationality, well, that includes the whole 12 tribes. So every nation has what they call like a symbol or a flag. So the Spirit showed us, well, the Ma'asharah Sha'ala needs a flag. So we needed a flag. So again, the Spirit of the Most High showed us to develop a flag. And then we said, well, what we going to put on it? Then we went to the Most High, and the Spirit of the Most High showed us, put the 12 tribes of Israel on it. Okay, and then he said, put the menorah on it. Then put around the menorah, Ma'asharah Yasha'Allah. Okay, Government of Israel. That's the flag. And then we got the colors. Okay, the colors, purple, blue, and red, those are the colors of the tabernacle that you read in Exodus that the Most High gave Moshe once he developed the tabernacle. Those were the colors. So those are some developments and some accomplishments. And then as we move on, we formed, we had a brother who's part of the council. He formed the Book of the Law. And the Book of the Law is he categorized the book, okay, the law, statutes, and commandments in the Bible. All he did was put it in like a book form and categorize it. So all the laws on marriage is categorized. All the laws on circumcision is categorized. The civil laws categorized. The moral laws categorized. Dietary law, all that's categorized. And he put that and developed that. So every summit we pass that around. We have also what we call a code of ethics. Okay, the code of ethics is just Yahushua in the New Testament gave us how we're supposed to deal with one another brotherly, okay, and lovingly, and help one another in courtesy and hospitality. So we have a code of ethics that we have at summits also. We pass that around. Also, the brother, again, with the phone book. The phone book is very thick now. It's getting thicker. So every summit we have, there's new people that just coming into the truth that come to the summits, and it's their first time being in the truth. They're just coming in, and they come in through the summits. Okay, so coming in through the summits. They didn't come through no particular school, Israelite camp. They came in through the summits. So that's an accomplishment. And then we also have, of course, the main accomplishment. One of the main accomplishments is different camps coming together who didn't know one another before, but now they're going to get to acknowledge one another, know one another, and come together and salute one another from all across the country and internationally. They begin to know one another, and now brothers are communicating, all right, with one another, and are able to disseminate information, okay, according to the scriptures with one another. So the house of David does not know everything. So another camp from another city or state, they may have what the house of David needs, and then the house of David may need what that camp needs, and we come together and bring it together in a body. So those are some of the accomplishments of the Ma'asharah Sha'ala.
Very good. And that sounds like, with so many different YouTube channels, so many different camps around the country, this is a good place to kind of, like you said, build the body. And even this is a venue and an avenue that new people are entering in the truth. So it's not so much a ton of videos anymore. It's actually coming in ground floor. Here's my first introduction to, the truth, and then you come in on the Ma'asharah Yashara. Good, very good, very good. Another topic and another thing that we see a lot is that we see some of the members from the Yasharallah going to Israel, going to Mount Zion. A lot of those videos get a lot of views, right? We post a lot of different material here at the House of David, and a lot of the material that gets the high tick views are when brothers actually goes to the Holy Land. So in conjunction with the Mashra Yasharallah, what's the purpose of the Mashra Yasharallah traveling abroad into Mount Zion?
Right. Again, the Mashra Yasharallah, when we first started it, the summits, of course, the first one was in Washington, D.C. The Spirit of the Most High is something. We had no idea, and I've been in truth for almost 35 years, and had no idea that Mount Zion was even, we knew it was there, but we had no idea that Mount Zion would be a key to the redemption. And we're talking about the physical Mount Zion. So other people can understand, and brothers can understand, Mount Zion is a people, it's the 12 tribes of Israel, it's a people, and it's a place. So when you read the scriptures, you got to understand, when you read the context of the scripture, it could be talking about the people, or we're talking about the actual physical Mount Zion. So the Spirit of the Most High brought a couple of brothers to that first summit in D.C. And these brothers showed us and had an important message from Jerusalem, from Israel, okay, and from the real Israel, okay, not the one that they use as a tourist attraction where they make $1 billion a year. We're talking about from the real Mount Zion, from the real Israel, real Jerusalem. And so these brothers brought some important information concerning Mount Zion. And I said, well, what is this? All those years I've been in truth, never knew this, anything. So this is the Most High and Yahushua at work. And so these brothers brought information concerning Mount Zion. In other words, the actual tabernacle of David. The actual Mount Zion that they dug up in the 1960s and are still primarily pretty much digging it up. And but now you see the remnants of it and the foundation of it, the actual Mount Zion that you read about in the scriptures. You read about in the scriptures is actually dug up. And so these brothers brought information back to that first summit. And the brother actually pretty much taught a class at the summit on it. And he had a little video, he had a little projector or whatever, and showed us, had the pamphlet and had the tourist information that you can get from Mount Zion, and he had that, and he gave me his last copy. He gave me the last copy of it. And so with that information, right then and there, I began to study the scriptures all over again, because it show you the Most High brings the knowledge to us in stages. Okay, not all at once. So if a man say he got 100% truth, he don't have nothing. Okay, the Most High don't give you the 100% right away. He gives it to you in stages. He gives you some information here. He gave us some information 20 years ago. He gives you some more information here, and then we're gonna have more information later on coming to us. And that's how the Spirit of Yahushua works. So the Spirit brought us the information concerning Mount Zion. And so from that first summit, and we're on our 13th summit now, coming on our 13th summit, we've been going back and forth to Mount Zion. And a lot of information concerning Mount Zion that we didn't know prior to that now that we read in the scriptures is all being revealed to us. That Mount Zion is a key to the redemption and deliverance of the 12 tribes of Israel. It is the key. Because the scripture says Mount Zion is what? That's where the house of the Most High is at. That's where the Most High dwell at. Okay? Situation for beauty is Mount Zion, the scripture say. Okay? The Most High dwell nothing but at Mount Zion, the scripture say. And he gonna redeem us. When the saints come marching in, the scripture say, they're gonna come marching in and we're gonna go to Mount Zion. Okay? And that's where the temple's gonna be at. That's where everything is gonna be at. So Mount Zion is the key to deliverance. So the Mashra Sha'ala is going to begin to now we have it here in America, where we have the summits and bring camps and Israelite schools together according to the will of the Most High and Yahushua. Now we have to take the government of Israel, where it says Mashra Sha'ala, and bring that back to Mount Zion, Israel, Jerusalem. And that's our land. So if we're not going to reclaim our land, then what are we doing? See? Now some brothers may say, well, you got to wait for Yahushua. Yeah, well, we are waiting for Yahushua. But Yahushua, just like we go out there in the corners and in the cities and teach the word, we don't just sit back and wait. You go out there and you perform the doing of it, the work of the Most High. So we got to perform the doing of it and bring this nation together. And so that's why we go back and forth to Mount Zion now, because the Most High teaches us 3 times a year we're supposed to be in Mount Zion and celebrate the High Holy Day. Those laws never change. And you're supposed to get to Mount Zion however you can and get to the Holy Land however you can to celebrate those 3 holidays. But those laws never change. Okay? That's why Yahushua told, he said, I came to fulfill, okay, the law, statutes, commandments. Okay? Not to do away with, but to fulfill them. So we got to begin to fulfill the law, statutes, and commandments in HaMashiach Yahushua. And that's why Mount Zion is important. That's why the Marshal Allah is going to start from here in the Americas and bringing Israelite camps together. Then we're going to take it abroad and bring it back into Mount Zion and Israel and Jerusalem. Khan?
Khan, and you kind of touched on, one of the other questions I had for you, which was, why is Mount Zion so important? But kind of get more granular in terms of what's been accomplished so far by going to Mount Zion.
Right.
So if I'm a brother who's in the truth 30 years,
right.
10, 15, or just, like you said, walking into the truth at the summit,
right.
Tell us a little bit about the importance of actually, or the accomplishments rather. Of,
right. Well, the accomplishment of going to Mount Zion is one, and I would urge every brother that's in America or the Caribbean or South America and that's been in America but haven't traveled to Mount Zion to go there, because that is, one, the Holy Land. 2, the fact that when we go there, we always, of course, put it out there that we're taking this another trip going to Mount Zion. We always connect with other brothers from other camps who are ready to make that journey to go visit Mount Zion and get the spirit of Hamashiach and the Most High once they visit there. Here in America, you're not going to get that spirit. Okay, yeah, we read the scriptures, but we don't, and we get the spirit of the Most High reading the scriptures, but you have to actually visit the land to get the spirit of the Most High, of being in the land and in the land that was given to our forefathers as ours from the Most High. That's all land, land of Canaan, Israel, Jerusalem, Mount Zion, that's all land. And so by the Marshal Allah going over there, all right, and visiting the land, and then learning about Mount Zion, and then learning about Jerusalem, we bring it back to America. We bring it back to the summits, and then we bring out those points and make those statements at the summits concerning Mount Zion. And not only that, when we visited Mount Zion, we also visited the Hebrew village, which is Dimona. And when we visited Dimona, and so the brothers can understand, Dimona has already been in Israel for 50 years. And so these brothers have a lot of information. The Hebrew village has a lot of information concerning Israel, Jerusalem. A lot of information that we here in America and the Caribbean and throughout the Western Hemisphere don't know anything. So a brother's going to talk negative about the Hebrew village, okay? You got to understand, they know Israel, okay? They've been there 50 years. They know the land. Yeah, we have something that we could offer them too, but they have something that they could offer us. And the thing about it, the Most High was with them and allowed them to be in the land for 50 years. No matter what you think about them, the Most High allowed them to be in the land for 50 years. So what else can you say? Here, we over here in America catching hell every day. Under the so-called white man, under this U.S. government catching hell every day. All right? And you know that this is Babylon the Great, the whole of every foul spirit and demon on earth. And so we catch hell, but they in the land for 50 years. So they have information that they could give us concerning the land. And also Dimona from the summits and the Marshal Allah summits and how it's publicized and how it's going out now. Dimona wants to have a summit sort of Mashra Rosh Hashanah summit in Israel. And this is what they are talking about doing in December 25th. They want to have a summit now. And they got the idea of that from the Mashra Rosh Hashanah summits. And so they want brothers from the different camps and school Israelite camps to come together and talk about what? What are we going to talk about? What are we going to discuss? How can we come together, okay, in Yahweh Bahasham HaMashiach Yahushai? How can we, as a nation, come together and put this nation together in HaMashiach? What are we going to do? See, that's why the scripture says, proclaim ye nations, proclaim this amongst the nation that is war now. All right? Proclaim this amongst the Gentiles, war. And so we as a nation, we got to come together because Yahushua is bringing war in this earth. Nations shall rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Okay? There's going to be wars and rumors of war. So we got to bring this nation together more on a higher level to the next stage. Yes, one thing you may know you're an Israelite and know the commandments of the Most High, but how are you going to put this? How are you going to put this structure of this government together as a nation? And that's what we got to talk about. Okay, Con?
All right, one last question here, and this is just more hypothetical thinking. You know, say 3 years,
Con.
10 years, Most High will, 15, etc. You know, if that be the case, what are we trying to achieve with Mashra Yashrala?
Again, what's the achievement? The achievement is to educate and bring knowledge to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered throughout North, South, Central America, the Caribbean, the Western Hemisphere, the 7 continents, and essentially throughout the whole planet Earth. We want to achieve, our primary goal is to teach those whose forefathers are of Negroid Indian descent who they are, what their true nationality is, what their custom is, what their culture is, what their language is, what land they really come from, who they are, and who the Mosai is to them. Okay? Not in a religious context, of course, but in a spiritual and righteous context. Who the Mosai is to the 12 tribes of Israel and who they are. They don't know who they are. So that's our primary goal. And then once you teach and educate them who they are, you begin to let them know that now we're a government in exile. And we have to form this government back in righteousness according to the law, statute, commandments of the Mosai. And this is what the Mosai wants. And so our people are essentially scattered everywhere. We got our people still in Africa. Okay, there's over 3,000 tribes in Africa. And primarily all those tribes are pretty much Israelite tribes. Okay? The slave trade did not sell and bring all of our people from Africa on the transatlantic slave trade to America. Okay? That did not happen. Yeah, millions of our people came over here, but not all our people. So there's still millions of our people in Africa. Okay, in Nigeria, the west coast of Africa, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Mali, our people are still scattered throughout Liberia, still scattered throughout Africa. So we must get this information to them. Our people are still scattered in Saudi Arabia. Must get that information to them. They're still scattered in what they call the Far East. All right, in China, in Japan. So let's get that information to them. There's a lot of our people, there's Negro communities in India. Okay, you go into the interiors of India. Okay, Bombay, into the interiors of India, you have Israelite communities. Okay, our people are scattered all over the earth. You go to Iran, our people are there. Negroes, Negro communities in Iran. You go to Iraq, Negroes are there. Our people are there. So you go everywhere. Afghanistan, our people are there. All right, we know our people in Egypt. Joseph and Mary was ordered by the Mosai to take Yahushua into Egypt. You think Yahushua went to Egypt amongst a bunch of Edomites? No, he went amongst the community of Hebrews that were living in Egypt during that time. Okay? So Libya, North Africa. Okay? You know Hannibal was in North Africa. So you know our people had communities in North Africa. Because our people are all over this earth. Okay? And so this information who they are, where they come from, they must get this information from brothers and teachers and prophets and disciples. And once they get this information, begin to teach them. We must come together as one nation. This is what Yahushua is looking for. So that's the primary goal of the Mashra Yasha'Allah.
All right, well, thank you for covering that topic. We're going to cover many different topics here at the House of David. This is the first of many.